Hey guys, how's it going and welcome to another video. So at the time that I'm filming this, the month of Ramadan is in about a month's time. So I thought that I would film a video explaining how to eat and train during the month of Ramadan. So if you don't know what Ramadan is, it's essentially a holy month for Muslims around the world, a month during which they fast from dawn to sunset. So basically they don't eat or drink any water from the time that the sun rises in the morning until the time that the sun sets in the evening, and this lasts for about 30 days every single year. And like the time at which it happens during the year does change because it's according to the Islamic calendar. Basically that's what it is, and obviously since your eating schedule is completely thrown off, that can really throw off your training schedule and obviously how you eat and things like that. So basically a lot of people might think that, oh, since you can only eat like after sunset, you could lose a ton of weight during this month, but you'd be surprised at the amount of people that actually report that they've gained weight during the month of Ramadan, because it is a month full of festivities, eating with your family, eating your mom's home-cooked meals, things like that. So if you want to stay on track during the month of Ramadan, if you are trying to cut during Ramadan, then you need to be looking at your overall calories first. So essentially what I'm going to be going over in this video is first how to eat during Ramadan, and then I'm going to go over how to train during Ramadan, and then finally a few just key takeaways when it comes to socializing, eating with your family, things like that. So how to eat during Ramadan. Firstly, you need to decide on what your goal is. Is your goal to cut? Is your goal to maintain? Is your goal to gain weight? Now obviously, I wouldn't recommend trying to bulk during Ramadan because your training isn't going to be 100%, and also just because your eating window is so short that if you're trying to eat that much food in such a small amount of time, it can cause digestive upset. It's just not fun to try and stuff yourself with clean food when your eating window is so reduced, right? So I would recommend maintaining or cutting during the month of Ramadan. If you are in a building phase and the Ramadan is kind of in the middle of your big building phase, it is a good time to implement a mini cut because it's only 4 weeks and you can go into an aggressive deficit for 4 weeks and then go straight back into your building phase afterwards. So no matter what your goal is, calories should be your number one priority. If your goal is to maintain, you need to eat at your maintenance calories. If your goal is to cut, you need to be in a calorie deficit. So obviously these numbers are going to be very specific to you and your activity levels and your metabolism, things like that. And I have other videos on my channel explaining how to find your maintenance calories and your calorie deficit. So I highly recommend watching those if you're not sure how many calories you should be eating. Or I do online coaching as well, where I can basically just tell you how much to be eating every single day. So once you've gotten that planned out, now let's talk about meal timing. We have two scenarios here. So when I was younger, I actually used to fast. I grew up in a Muslim country. A lot of my friends are Muslim, so I've fasted before. I know what it's like, and I used to be the one that would stay up all night and then sleep most of the day, so I wouldn't feel the effects of it, which is probably not the best way to do things. But let's say you are someone who you don't work a full 9 to 5 day job and you are able to stay up all night. That's scenario number one. I'll talk about that first before going into scenario number two, which is someone who needs to get as much sleep as possible because they need to work throughout the day. So I would recommend 3 big meals to this person. Your first meal is going to be your pre-workout meal, is going to be iftar, right? So it's time to eat. First, I need you to hydrate. I need you to drink a full liter of water because your body is so dehydrated. So down a liter of water and then wait 10 minutes for that liter to just kind of go down. Then break your fast with a big meal that's high in fast digesting carbs and that's high in protein. So when I say fast digesting carbs, I say avoid vegetables. Vegetables aren't bad for you. I'm just saying that because this is your first meal you're going to be having pre-workout, you want the carbs to digest as quickly as possible and to be easy on your digestive system as well. You don't want to kill your digestive system with a bunch of fiber after you've been fasting for super duper long, and because you're going to train afterwards, you want to be good to go and just absorb the carbs into your muscles as quickly as possible. So quick digesting carbs are things like dates are great. There's simple sugars. Fruit in general that's not super high in fibers, like a banana as well, is pretty good. Or I'd say things like rice is pretty fast digesting. Rice cakes as long as it's like not brown rice, because brown rice has a lot more fiber and that does take a toll on your digestive system. Because like cream of rice as well is great. So that's like your fast digesting carb source, and then fast digesting protein. So if you're not vegan, whey protein isolate is super fast digesting, or you can opt for, if you're training 2 hours to 3 hours after, then you can go for more slow digesting proteins such as chicken breast, things like that. And then if you are vegan, my vegan squad, seitan is great for protein, or if you're having a sweet meal, protein powder, soy yogurt, things like that, like a complete source of protein during your first meal for iftar. So that's the first meal. Then your second meal is going to be your post-workout meal, after you've gone to the gym. And basically post-workout, you want, again, high protein, so pick a protein source and have lots of it. And then this is where you can have carbs that are not necessarily super fast digesting, so you can go for things like oatmeal or rice, or vegetables as well, something that's more high in fiber. But the key here is pre and post workout, avoid fats, just because if you have fat and fiber pre-workout, it's going to slow down the digestion of that food. And if your gym isn't open like all night long and you want to get to the gym as quickly as possible, you need to be able to digest that food as quickly as possible as well. So I'd highly recommend avoiding fats pre and post workout to make sure your body is absorbing everything as quickly as possible. So post workout meal is gonna resemble your pre-workout meal as well, but you can have a bit more fiber with it. And then you're gonna wait until suhoor. So suhoor is the meal that you have right before the sun rises. So that's about, depending on where you are in the world, and depending on what time of year it is, maybe 3-4 a.m. So basically that meal is going to be your most satiating and biggest meal. Like, you need to feel stuffed and need to drink hella water. Like, hydrate 2 liters of water during suhoor for sure. You need to feel bloated. You need to eat a lot of food. So you're gonna have to have your biggest meal. I want you guys to just kind of save all your fats for this meal. Anything that's like peanut butter, anything that's oily, anything that has like avocados in it, all these high fat foods. Or if you do eat meat, things like high fat meats like lamb. I know lamb is very prevalent in Middle Eastern cuisine. Things like that, to save that for your suhoor meal. And then also have things like a lot of fiber, so ton of vegetables, ton of fiber to really fill you up, and slow digesting carbs. This is where you want to have your complex carbohydrates, so sweet potato, whole grains, whole wheat, things like that. That is going to help you stay full for longer, because that's going to slow the digestion process. So this last meal, you're going to have it about 4 a.m. and then you're going to go to bed. So that's for the person who can stay up all night. The person who can't, who needs to be awake during the day, who has a gym that closes early, the only thing that we're going to be changing is those first 2 meals, because this person still needs to wake up for suhoor, right? So this person that needs to be in bed by, like, let's say 11 p.m. and iftar is at like 8, what would you do? Well, that first meal is going to have to be really, really small. So it's going to be the same principles as for the first person, fast digesting carbs and a fast digesting source of protein, but make it a snack version, something that you can eat quick and that's not going to make you feel sick if you go in and work out in 30 minutes, right? So let's say it's 8 p.m. it's iftar, down that with some water as well. 8:30, you're in the gym ready to work out. In the gym, I want you to have some intra-workout carbs. So grab a Powerade that has about 25 to 40 grams of simple sugar, simple carbs, and drink that during your workout, just because you weren't able to physically eat all those carbs right before in your iftar, right? So in the gym, have some intra-workout carbs, finish your workout by like 9:30, 10 p.m. and then go home, have your post-workout meal just like the first scenario I had described, and then sleep from 11 to about 4, wake up, have your suhoor, go back to sleep, wake up, go to work. So those are the scenarios on how to eat. Obviously, this is just about like meal timing and obviously nutrient partitioning. So when to have your fats, when to have your complex carbs, when to have your simple carbs, things like that. However, in terms of the actual amount of food you need to eat, that is highly individual to you. Again, depending on whether you're in a calorie deficit or whether you're maintaining, the number of calories you're going to eat is going to be very, very highly specific to you and your dieting history and your body and how your body responds. So that is how to eat. Now let's go into how to train. Training, I would highly recommend reducing your overall training volume. So if you're someone that trains 5 to 6 times a week, maybe reduce it to 4 to 5 times a week. If you're someone that goes crazy and does 10 sets per muscle group per workout, like you do 10 sets of back and then you do 10 sets of shoulders, reduce your overall volume. You will not lose muscle. It's difficult, to lose muscle if you are still resistance training. And if you're someone that's been, overreaching, almost overtraining, training super duper hard leading up to Ramadan, doing that 1 month of lower volume during Ramadan is really going to resensitize your body to training volume, because once you're doing so much volume, you can't keep on increasing your volume like for the rest of your life. You'd be doing like 50 sets per workout at some point, which is insane. Like, you do need these periods of time where you're doing a bit less training volume, that when you go back to doing higher volume, your body responds even better to it, because you've resensitized your body to doing volume. Because when you do so much of it, your body's desensitized to it. Adding an extra set here and there isn't actually going to change much in terms of how much you progress if you're already doing that much volume. And since your eating during Ramadan is going to be a bit thrown off, it is a smart idea to not go super crazy with volume and actually reduce your training volume during Ramadan. So I'd recommend, if you're going to train about 4 times a week, lower volume approach, do an upper lower split. So you can do upper lower rest, or you can do something like a full body split over the course of 4 days during the week, or you can do anterior posterior rest, anterior posterior rest. Play around with it, have fun with it, but keep your workouts low volume and short. Now, some of you might be wondering, what if I want to train fasted? This is a bad idea for a number of reasons. Number one, if you're gonna train fasted, it's one thing to train fasted with water in you, but if you train fasted and you're dehydrated, your muscles need water to perform, to contract. When you get a pump in the gym, that's because there's water and sodium. Sodium is another thing that I forgot to mention, by the way. Your last meal before, your suhoor meal, make it high in sodium, because sodium actually retains water in your body so you can stay hydrated for longer. You're welcome. But yeah, what was I saying? Yes, so muscles need water and sodium to properly perform in the gym. So if your muscles are dehydrated, you will go into the gym. 1, you won't be able to perform. 2, you won't even get a pump. And that's really depressing when you're in the gym and you can't get a pump. But also, there's no glycogen in you. You're depleted. You are hungry, tired, you get irritable when you can't eat for so long. So training fasted is a bad idea. If you're gonna go out for a walk or do some cardio fasted, sure, but if you're gonna be resistance training, definitely wait until you've had some food and some water. So like I said, depending on whether you're able to stay up all night and you can go to the gym a bit later so you can have a bigger first meal, or if you need to go to the gym ASAP after iftar because it closes early, have a smaller pre-workout snack and then go. That just totally depends on your situation. But yeah, please do not train fasted. And lastly, don't be afraid of losing your gains during Ramadan. All that is needed to maintain muscle is 1/9 of your usual volume and intensity, right? That's what the literature shows in young adults. So if you're reducing your training volume ever so slightly to something that's a bit more manageable, you will not lose muscle. You will probably still gain muscle, just at a slower rate than usual, but your recovery is going to be a lot better and you're going to enjoy your training a lot more. So please trust me on that one. And now lastly, I want to touch on just the social aspect, because obviously Ramadan is a time where you're focusing more on your relationship with God. You're in touch with your religion basically. And although I'm not Muslim and I don't practice this, I used to when I was a kid, so I kind of understand. A lot of my friends do practice Ramadan, they do fast, and I understand what this month means both religiously and socially for someone who's doing it. It's a time for you to get closer to God, but also to your family, and you're meant to be eating with your family more frequently and eating more food. And if you don't want to isolate yourself during this time, right? So how can you stick to your goals and still be social? So here's what I recommend. First, I need you to kind of be honest with yourself. How important are your goals to you? Are you willing to, sacrifice an entire month of eating and training just because you want to, enjoy food with your family? Because that is for some people a choice, and you just have to understand that you might gain some body fat or you might lose some muscle, and that's fine. But if you truly want to be on point, stay connected to your why. Keep asking yourself and reminding yourself, why do you want this for yourself, and let that motivate you and drive you throughout the month. One thing. Another thing is, if your family really loves you and cares about you, if you sit down with them and explain to them your goals and why you're doing this the way that you just reminded yourself, they should respect that and even support you. So you can still be at the dinner table with them, but with your own food. Tell them, look, I will offer to cook you guys some stuff. I'm happy to help around in the kitchen and sit down with you guys and have a conversation with you guys at the dinner table and just spend more time together, but I need to stick to my goals, so I need to be eating my own meals, explain to them why and how much it means to you. But this doesn't mean that you can't enjoy anything, right? So you guys know this already if you watch my channel, I preach flexible dieting, so if you're able to fit treats here and there that fit into your calories, do it. Like, of course, just do it. If you're able to kind of guesstimate, track your mom's food and fit it into your calories, do it. But if that kind of makes you go off the rails and binge, don't do it and stick to your own meals that you cook yourself. Or do a mixture of both. Some days you're going to stick to your meals, some days you're going to be a bit more flexible and try and guesstimate and track the meals that your mom cooks for you, right? Or if you want to have an entire like full proper iftar off, that's totally doable as well. Choose one day a week where you're going to have 2 meals instead of the 3 meals that I outlined in the beginning of this video. So instead of doing pre-workout, post-workout, then suhoor, choose a rest day where you can only have that big iftar and then sleep and then wake up for suhoor. So have that big iftar with your family, indulge, have all that food, sleep, and then have a smaller suhoor meal. That way you can still adhere to your maintenance calories or your caloric deficit, whichever one you are trying to adhere to, and still enjoy your mom's cooking, right? So it's all about balance. And again, remember that like this is a long-term thing. Fitness is a lifelong journey. A month of maybe not being as 100% as you usually are, where maybe more than around 70 or 80% of your usual A game, is not going to hinder your progress. It might slow it down a little bit, but you know, you'll be making progress in other areas of your life, in your personal life, in your religious beliefs, and in your relationship with your family, right? So that's everything I have to say for this video. Sorry if it was a bit rambly. I just wanted to cover everything as in depth as possible. If I missed anything or if it's anything that's not clear, please leave a comment down below asking me any questions you might have, or just feel free to shoot me a DM on Instagram. My Instagram is just @AliaLifts. I would love to have you guys on there, talk to you guys on there, interact with you guys on there. Feel free to subscribe as well for more fitness and nutrition content. I would love to have you guys around. I have all my links in the description down below for HD muscle discounts, as well as my online coaching and my free strategy calls as well, so make sure you check those out. Let me know what kinds of videos you guys want to see next, and until next time, bye guys!